Hi friends, my name is Brittany and behind me is my retired racing greyhound. His name is Indy, and off to the right you can't see him, but that is Mac. He is our foster greyhound that we have currently. Back in December, my fiance and I adopted Indy, and right before, when I was trying to do a bunch of research on them, I really couldn't find many videos on YouTube talking about greyhounds and their care and about them or anything like that. So I thought I might make a video talking about the top 10 things that I would have loved to know before adopting a greyhound. First things first, you cannot have greyhounds off leash ever. In our adoption company, we actually have it in the contract that if we find out that you have him off leash, you could get in a lot of trouble for it. This is because greyhounds are sight hounds. They have a very high tendency to see something and want it and just go for it and just chase and not let go of that image of that thing that they're chasing until they get it. They are extremely smart, but when they're so driven toward that one thing, it's just almost impossible to get them back. So if you're looking for a dog that you can have off leash that will walk with you and all that, greyhounds might not be the right dog for you. Speaking of prey drive, greyhounds can have an insanely high prey drive. Not every single one will struggle with that, but I know that our foster right now, he really struggles with it. Indy though, we have 2 cats in the house and he lives with them totally fine and has never bothered them once. If you think about it, they've been raised in an environment where their entire life goal was chasing a little lure they had going around a track. So it's not really surprising that greyhounds can still struggle with having a high prey drive once they're in a home. This doesn't mean that you can't have small dogs or a cat while you have a greyhound by any means. It just means that it sometimes might be a little bit harder to find the right one for your home. Speaking of a home environment, sometimes it can be pretty hard for a greyhound to adjust to being in a home. Their entire lives they have been in kennels and crates and all that, so they have never seen glass doors, they've never seen washers and dryers, and they haven't heard the noises that happen in your house, so it can sometimes be a little bit of an adjustment for these dogs to get used to living in a home. That being said, most dogs, at least through where I'm through, have been in a foster home beforehand, so the foster parents kind of take care of introducing all those things to them. Number 4, greyhounds can tend to have really sensitive bellies. With sensitive bellies comes expensive food. Indy's food is about $35 a bag, and that usually will last us about 8 weeks with just Indy or 3 to 4 weeks with a foster, mattering if our foster needs to gain weight or not. To be fair, that's really not that bad when it comes to a nice high quality grain-free food, but it can be a bit of a sticker shock when you first look into getting these breed of dog. Number 5, people will ask you about your dog everywhere you go if you bring him with you. I live in a bigger city and we bring Indy downtown a lot, and people constantly will stop and be like, oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever seen a greyhound before in real life ever, and oh my gosh, this and that and the other, and they ask me a ton of questions about him, and he's definitely the center of attention. 6, greyhounds are known for their insanely thin skin. In our adoption group, we use bucket muzzles, which are the exact same muzzles that they use at the tracks. You've probably seen these if you ever look at like a stereotypical like picture of a greyhound. And these muzzles are awesome because they can eat in them, they can drink in them, they can bark, they can do everything except have their teeth showing, basically. That being said, whenever people see him in his muzzle, they think he's aggressive, and he literally would not hurt a fly if you gave it to him on a plate. Number 7, contrary to popular belief, they are the best apartment dogs in the entire world. You give Indy his bed and he will sleep all day long and just be the happiest wherever you put him. He is quiet. I think I've heard him bark 4 times since I've had him. He also doesn't run around like a crazy dog. Everyone thinks that greyhounds have super high energy, and they really don't. This, what you see behind me, is what he does basically all day. That is his favorite house spot in the entire house right now. Number 8, they've never been alone before, so when you first get a greyhound, do not be surprised if they deal with some separation anxiety. When we first got Indy, he would just cry and cry and cry and cry as long as we were gone, and it broke my heart. But really, the best solution sometimes is getting a second one. It's not the solution that works for everyone. It worked really well for us. We foster now, and it works really well. That being said, we also alone trained a lot, and that's really what broke him of having that separation anxiety as bad as he did. Number 9, they are big dogs, if you can't tell. Indy weighs about 85 pounds, and big dogs eat a lot of food, and in turn, they poop a lot. I've had so many people return their dogs because they didn't realize how many times they had to potty a day. We bring Indy out 5 times a day, and sometimes I feel like I should bring him out more than that. And one of those times is a 45-minute trip to the park usually. So yeah, if you're not ready for big poop, don't be ready for a big dog. Number 10, they're just genuinely the best, most loving, sweetest dogs in the entire world. I think it was one of the best decisions I have ever made in my life getting Indy. He's my best friend. He's a gentle giant. Everyone who has ever met him absolutely adores him, and I just think they're one of the best breeds you could ever get. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more from me, please let me know, because I don't know if I'll do anything else. But yeah, have a great night.